Tonight, you will fall. You won't see it coming. One moment you're somewhere familiar, a hallway, a rooftop, a staircase that doesn't quite make sense. And then the ground disappears beneath you. Your stomach lurches, the air rushes past, and right before you hit the bottom, your eyes snap open. You're in your bed, heart pounding, completely safe, and you've been doing this your entire life. Almost every human being on Earth has had a falling dream. Not once, not twice, repeatedly, across every culture, every continent, every era of recorded human experience. People have described the same thing: the sudden drop, the helpless plunge, the violent jolt back to consciousness, and almost no one ever hits the ground. So why does your brain do this? Why does it build the fall, run it in perfect, terrifying detail, and then cut the scene right before the ending? The real answer is far stranger than you think. Start with what happens to your body the moment you fall asleep. Your muscles begin to relax, not gradually, suddenly. In the early stages of sleep, your body crosses a threshold where it starts to let go of the tension it holds all day. Your limbs get heavy, your jaw unclenches, your grip loosens, and your ancient brain notices. Neuroscientist David Eagleman has spent years studying how the brain interprets the body's internal signals. What he found is that the sleeping brain is not passive. It doesn't just shut off. It monitors, it listens, and when it receives an unusual signal, a sudden drop in muscle activity, a change in internal pressure, it reaches into its library of physical experiences and tries to make sense of what it's feeling. That sudden muscular release? To a brain built hundreds of thousands of years ago, it feels exactly like falling. This response has a name. It's called a hypnic jerk, and it happens to almost everyone. That full-body spasm right at the edge of sleep, that involuntary twitch that wakes you up for a second, that is your body's oldest alarm system misfiring. Researchers believe the hypnic jerk is a vestigial reflex, a relic, something inherited from primate ancestors who slept in trees. When your body starts to go limp in the branches, your nervous system triggers a sudden muscle contraction to catch you before you fall. It was a survival mechanism, a literal grip reflex passed down through millions of years of evolution. You don't live in a tree, but your brain doesn't know that. So when your muscles release at the edge of sleep, the old system activates. And sometimes, instead of just jerking you awake, it generates an entire dream around the sensation. A fall, a ledge, a step that wasn't there. Your brain is not creating the dream first, and then giving you the feeling. It's doing the opposite. It starts with the physical sensation and builds a story around it in milliseconds. Psychologist Antti Revonsuo, who has studied the protective function of dreaming for decades, argues that the dreaming brain is fundamentally a threat simulation system. Dreams, especially frightening ones, exist to rehearse danger, to run the scenario so your waking body knows how to respond. Under this theory, the falling dream isn't a glitch, it's a drill. Your brain pulls you into the fall not to frighten you, but to train you. And here is where it gets interesting. You always wake up before you hit the ground. Almost everyone does. Ask around. The number of people who have actually completed the fall in a dream and felt impact is vanishingly small. Why? Because the dream has already done its job. The moment your nervous system generates maximum alertness, maximum fear response, maximum adrenaline, the threat simulation is complete. There's no need to finish the fall. The lesson has been learned, the body has been activated, the alarm has been heard, so consciousness snaps back online, and you wake up gasping, heart hammering, in a bed that is perfectly still. But some researchers think there's a second layer to this. Matthew Walker, neuroscientist and author of extensive research on sleep, has documented how REM sleep, the stage where vivid dreaming occurs, functions as overnight emotional therapy. During REM, your brain replays emotionally charged experiences, but it strips the sharp emotional edge off them over time. It processes fear. It desensitizes threat. The falling dream, under this framework, isn't just a reflex or a drill. It's also a processing event. Something in your emotional landscape, some anxiety, some loss of control, some moment where the ground felt unsteady beneath you, is being metabolized in the night. The fall is the metaphor your sleeping brain chose for the feeling it's trying to work through. You don't just fall in dreams because of your muscles. You fall because sometimes life feels like falling, and your brain, loyal and ancient and strange, meets you there. There's a reason the falling dream is one of the most universal human experiences ever recorded. Ancient Egyptians described it. Medieval dream interpreters wrote about it. Indigenous oral traditions across 5 continents reference the sensation of falling in sleep. For as long as humans have been sleeping, humans have been falling. Because the architecture of the dream is built from the architecture of the body, and the body hasn't changed that much. Your nervous system is still running software written in the Pleistocene, still watching for predators, still gripping branches that no longer exist, still treating the relaxation of sleep as a potential emergency. Sleep researcher Rosalind Cartwright spent 40 years studying how dreams respond to waking life stress. What she found, again and again, was that the content of dreams tracks the emotional temperature of the dreamer's life. People felt unstable, unsafe, or out of control during the day, their dreams reflected it at night. The falling dream spiked. Think about the last time you had one. What was happening in your life? Not necessarily something dramatic. Sometimes it's quieter than that. A decision you haven't made, a relationship that feels precarious, a version of yourself you're not sure you can hold on to. Your conscious mind may have moved past it by bedtime, but your sleeping brain was still holding it, still running the simulation, still trying to catch you before you hit the ground. You always wake up before impact. Not because the dream is broken, not because your brain runs out of material, but because waking up is the point. The jolt back to consciousness is the whole mechanism working exactly as designed. You feel the fall, you feel the fear, and then your nervous system pulls you back to safety, to the room, to your own breathing, to the knowledge that you are still here. Your ancestors fell from trees and caught themselves. Their nervous systems remembered. Their children inherited the reflex, and their children's children, and theirs, all the way down to you, lying in a bed, thousands of years removed from any branch, still catching yourself in the dark. Tonight, when the ground disappears beneath you, and the air rushes past, and your stomach drops into nothing, know that you are not broken. Know that you are not being haunted. Know that the oldest part of you is simply doing what it has always done. It is making sure you survive the fall, just like it always has.